Happy video day, guys. Christina, Brooke here, and today's video is a long-awaited video. So back in January, I told you guys about some chisme, about some gossip of Natasha Denona, that there was going to be something colorful coming from her brand, and you guys were so excited. And little by little, we started to find out some more stuff, and finally, Natasha Denona announced the palette, and I picked it up. I told you guys I would, and here is the Natasha Denona CIRCO LOCO palette. So it arrived at my house right now. Obviously, I already created a look playing with it, and in today's video, I'm going to be giving you guys all of my thoughts running down this entire palette and giving you guys all the details that I possibly can on this brand new release from Natasha. So if you guys are excited, and of course, if you guys love Natasha Denona, now is the time to hit subscribe and join my channel. If you're not aware, I did a one-year challenge that I will be picking up every single new release that Natasha Denona comes out with. She is one of my favorite brands, so it's not really like it was a huge challenge for me, but nonetheless, every single new release from Natasha will be on this channel. So I am so excited, and we're gonna get into the CIRCO LOCO right now. All right, guys, so let me just first start off the video with some details I always love to share with you guys. The details about the palette. So this is Natasha Denona's newest release. It is $129 US. So this is a 14 shade eyeshadow palette from Natasha. You're getting different colors from pastels all the way to some very, very vibrant colors. So the palette is manufactured in Italy, and I do not see anywhere on the packaging that there's any eye safety warnings. So I'm assuming that these are all eye safe. And like always, all of Natasha's palettes are very, very convenient in the fact that you can pull out the shades from the back. So if you guys see the little holes, you can stick a little needle in there and pop out the shades. So if you do have a palette that maybe has a little bit more neutral colors in it and you want to create your own customizable palettes, you can do so with any of Natasha Denona's. This is her regular sized palettes, kind of like the Safari or the Biba are also this size. I was watching her Insta stories and seeing how excited she was to release this palette. She did create it with color families in mind. I do know that as you look at it, it does look a little chaotic, and in reality, even though I do know that she did say that it was created with color families, so it's definitely a little bit out of the norm color story for Natasha Denona, and probably for a lot of people this is a very colorful palette. Even though there was color families in mind, it is a little bit of it's a vibrant, very, different palette to use. So let me quickly go over all the colors. So let's go ahead and swatch them together. So the first color that we have here is Firework. So Firework is a really nice orange matte. And if you guys see that, swatches just amazing like all of Natasha's palettes. The next one is Razzle Dazzle. So Razzle Dazzle is a really pretty metallic-y, almost fuchsia color, and if you guys look at it, it has like all these little pretty sparkles in it, so it's definitely a beautiful sparkly tone. So Acrobat is actually her creamy matte. Oh my goodness, look at that, guys, that's a matte, but it's her creamy matte. So her creamy matte formula does glide beautifully, and yeah, it's pretty amazing. Then next we have the color Snow Cone. Snow Cone is one of the more unique colors. Oh my goodness, I love Snow Cone. Snow Cone's like a beautiful light blue. Pretty insane. It's a really, really pretty color. That's one of my favorite colors in this entire palette. Then next we have the color called Cotton Candy. Cotton Candy is a really nice soft pink. This is almost like a baby pink. Actually, you know what? It is kind of like a baby pink. When you put it on your lids, it's not an obnoxious one though, so I'm happy for that, but it is definitely baby pink. So then if we keep going, the next color is called Electric. So Electric is a beautiful, very vibrant blue, and this one also is a metallic tone. The difference between the matte is a little lighter. It looks darker in the pan, but when you put it on, it actually is lighter. So it's definitely not as deep of a blue on the lid. So the next one is Grin. Grin is pretty cool. So Grin is a brassy metallic, and I love the color of Grin. This is not like one of those really shocking golds. It's a little bit more of a muted gold. It has a little bit more of like a brassy tone to it, which I think was perfect for this palette. I'm happy that she didn't go like yellow gold. I think that would have been just way too much. Then there's the color Cannon. So Cannon is like kind of like a burnt orange. So your matte here, this one's a little brighter than this one. This one has a little bit more of a deeper, it has a deeper shade to it. So the next one is actually Flip. I can't wait to use this color. I actually didn't use it today, but I want to use it. So this is actually a metallic-y teal tone. It does look a little bit more green in the pan, but it's definitely more teal. So it's a combination of blue and green. This one is fun to mime, and it's a really pretty dusty, it's a dusty blue. Really nice tone. Okay, so we have Spiral. So now Spiral is also a metallic orange, and I will tell you honestly, it is a little lighter than this one, but I do not believe at this point that both of them needed to be in there. I do think that it's lighter, like it has a little bit more of like an orange effect to it, but on the lids, I do think that we got a little bit of a repetitiveness there. I wish that would have been a different color. We have the color Magic, a really nice deep purple, really pretty purple, like really pretty. It's a very true purple color. So that's like a true to purple purple. Then we have, oh my gosh, my favorite color in the entire palette, Aerialist. This is probably the most unique shade in this entire palette. It is a lavender metallic that just is so pretty. Then we have Act, which is a true, very strong purple metallic. It's basically this color in a metallic. We own that color like in a lot of different palettes, but not Natasha's formula, but definitely in a lot of palettes. And then the final color is Joker, which is definitely a very, very strong magenta. My favorite color. And these are all the colors that round out the new palette. So now that I have swatched it for you guys have seen the colors, you've heard how much it costs, you know the whole details on it. Let's get into thoughts. Here's what I'm thinking, okay guys? This palette, definitely Natasha Denona quality. These metallics glide for days. These mattes are beautiful. Some of them are more powdery, some are a little bit more creamy. They blend amazing on the lids. They have really nice pigment. Even the pastel colors have pigment to them. They're not powdery, they don't dust away. They have an amazing, beautiful Natasha formula. This is definitely 100% beautiful formula. Some of these metallics, there is some real creativity to them. Definitely this purple lavender is absolutely stunning. This lighter blue here is also really unique and gorgeous, something that you don't see a lot. The teal is also something different. I love the color of this gold. I love that it's different and it's not like a really strong gold. This orange right here is also a different orange. It's not like a strong orange like this one here. It's a little bit more of a burnt orange. There's some really pretty color selections in this palette that I think are very unique and very gorgeous. Now that being said, for the everyday person, I 100% will tell you guys that this is going to be a difficult palette to use on its own. The only way that I can see a majority of the population really enjoying this on its own is using it as a one single shadow look, like maybe just grabbing this beautiful burnt orange and putting it all over the lid with a liner and just calling it a day. You know, the hurdle with this palette is it's a very strong on the creative side palette, okay? So this is very artistic. It has very beautiful color combinations. However, some of the color combinations are not as easy to see as other palettes, so I can see people getting a little confused by the palette. Also, the way it's arranged is arranged very aesthetically beautiful, but it's not really arranged in a way that I think makes a lot of sense used wise. So one way that I think that some people may be able to see this palette a little better is don't look at the palette as it is right now. I would say use it, look at it in rows, because Natasha does arrange her palettes this way. Usually you can follow a row like this and create a look. In this palette, I would not do that. I would say go down. I think if you look at them as threes, you can see color combinations a little bit better. Even that being said though, I do think that this one is one that's going to be a little bit more difficult. So this is what my personal thoughts would be to you guys. Like if you guys were to ask me, should I buy this? I would say this. I would say the quality 100% there. Do I think it should have been a $65 palette? Yes, I definitely do, just because of the color selection. But that being said, I don't want to say that this palette is not worth picking up, because in my opinion, I think it's beautiful to have. You don't have to use it just as this palette alone. If you have a palette like the Makeup by Mario, this is a very neutral, this is like your go-to palette that you can blend with a bunch of different eyeshadow palettes. It doesn't have to be this palette. Also, the Natasha Denona Gold palette, Natasha Denona's Biba palette, even her new Glam palette has more of these kind of universal tones. You can mix a palette like this with a universal palette like that to create beautiful eye looks and have the pop come from this palette. That's how I can see a lot of people using this. I can see a lot of influencers and YouTubers and Instagrammers using this to create these amazing Instagrammable eyes that are so cool on camera. They look amazing in images, but of course in daily life they might be a little much for a lot of people. So if you're one of those people that you're looking at this going, that is a little much for me, I've been able to create some beautiful neutral lids by using pops of color from a palette like this one. The one I had before was the Sephora Pro, which I never was a huge fan of that formula. But what I would do is I would grab a color that was more neutral from a color from the Mario palette. So let's say I was going for like an orangey brown. I would use the orangey brown on the lid, and then as I go to smoke out that outer edge, when I'm doing this V taper, I would grab like a purple, and I would do a purple V taper and just put on some mascara, and that looks insanely beautiful. You're only using one matte, but you're using it strategically to smoke out or to use on the lower lash line, that you're adding like an emphasis to the eyes. If you guys want me to get a little bit more in depth on that, because I think a few of you guys have asked me that, I will create a second video to this one focusing more on creating more wearable everyday looks with a colorful palette, because I do think that that's very important, especially since this palette is coming out. And I know a lot of you guys are interested, especially because the VIB sale is coming and you can get 20% off of it. So I'm going to try to do a video like that for you guys, giving you guys a little bit more insight of how to play with color without making it Instagram color. So yes, I do think that this is an amazing palette. I do think the quality is there. This has a very similar appeal to me as the Celestial Divinity from Pat McGrath had. When I looked at this palette, I knew that there was some colors in here I wouldn't use together, but even this palette makes a little bit more cohesive eyes than this palette does. This one's even more vibrant. So I do not feel that if you have this palette, you have this exact palette. You don't. Swatched a few of these separately for you guys so you guys can see that there is color families that work together as single looks. You can use this as a base. You could add this on top. You can put this as an all over the lid. You can smoke out with this. You could use this as a base. You could put this on top. There's ways to kind of mix these without having them all be like in different colors, like orange with purple, with green, with pink, with, you know, which I know that that's. I do not think that this palette is for everybody. I do not think that everybody needs to run out and buy this. This is definitely for the person who is looking for a colorful palette that they want to use as an add-on. I think that that is the key here. I definitely think that this is an add-on palette, or somebody who likes to use color but doesn't like to use too many colors in one look. They like to use one color, or they like to use two colors, and maybe that's about it. Once you get to 3 and 4 colors, things get a little bit chaotic. I'm very happy to have it in my collection. I think it's absolutely stunning. I do not think it's for everyone. Quickly, let's get into a few little comparisons. I'm gonna compare this to Celestial Divinity first. Let me see if I can get anything that looks similar. Celestial Divinity. So here we have from the Natasha Denona, and this is Celestial Divinity. This is probably the closest shade. So Natasha, Celestial, these two are close, but the color's a little off. Then this was Natasha, this is Celestial. These are close, but definitely Celestial goes very green compared to Natasha's. And then the purples are pretty different in hues. These are the closest colors in the Celestial Divinity and the Natasha Denona CIRCO LOCO. Definitely think they're pretty different. You might have some colors the same, but they're pretty different overall. All right, here are the comparisons to the Club Nebula. If you guys can see, the oranges don't really match up. So this one right here is the Natasha Denona. This one is Club Nebula, Natasha. The blues don't match up. Actually, this one here is the closest. This is the beautiful aerialist from the new Natasha palette compared to the one from the Club Nebula. These two are a little bit closer. The Club Nebula is lighter. The two blue metallics don't match up. These two don't match up, and definitely the more powdery blues in the palette don't match up that much either. These are the closest colors in the Club Nebula compared to the new Natasha palette. They don't look very similar to me personally. I do think that the Natasha palette is a lot brighter, and the Club Nebula is a little bit more toned down. And here's my last comparison. So this is going to be to the Sephora Pro. This is the editorial palette. So Natasha's first, and then this is the Pro. These colors very similar. These two are also very similar. This is different in texture. So Natasha's is matte. The Pro is in a metallic form. These two are actually pretty close too. These are off in the sense that the Pro one goes more green. Then this one, the oranges are pretty off as well. The greens are pretty off. The matte teal is pretty off. The purples are kind of close. And then also this lavendery shade has something similar, but the Natasha one's just a lot better. Now this is going to be my replacement to this palette, so I'm totally okay with the fact that there's some that look similar, because I think the formula of Natasha's is 5,000 times better than the Sephora Pro. All right guys, so now that we have gotten into all of my comparisons, I've told you guys my thoughts, and we've talked about this palette, let's get into how I created this eye look. I'll also be giving you guys some commentary on my first impression thoughts, creating these two different looks using the palette, and yeah, let's get into that right now. All right, I am so excited. Who else is excited? You guys at home are probably super excited too, because I have gotten so many questions about this palette. Everybody, since I talked about it in my chisme on my One Brand One Year, I got so many questions. So I haven't opened her yet. I just have her out of the box. I was filming a reel, which you guys will see up on Instagram, but I haven't opened it. I see a little bit of stuff here. Hopefully it's not broken, but I haven't opened her. First reaction. Oh my goodness. Guys, look at this palette from Natasha. This is insanity. I think I want to do two different eyes, and I'm going to do that on purpose because this is very colorful. There are some colors that I know I'm dying to play with, so I am dying to play with this color. If you guys saw my Make Up Your Mind, you know it's one of the colors I was the most excited for, because I know it looks like it's something very unique, and I'm actually excited for Snow Cone. I'm excited for the most dull colors in this palette. We're gonna jump into Cotton Candy first. Let's start off with this eye first. Let's do that. Let's do an eye look on this side first. So let's just go ahead and go in with Cotton Candy. So I'm just gonna blend this. So this is a very, very soft pink. It is more of a baby pink, but the good thing right now is it doesn't look like one of those obnoxious baby pinks, but it definitely is very light. Anytime that you use colorful palettes, I would recommend for you guys to prime your lids. Two reasons for me: so I don't get staining. Also, it does help pop the colors. It cancels out the color underneath, so it kind of gives it like more of like a base so that it can like stick out a little bit more. So definitely, if you want to play with color, prime your lids. It doesn't take that long, and it does help the shadows, especially for vibrant looks. So this color is pretty. It's showing up really nice on my skin tone, which I was afraid that it wouldn't, because sometimes these more pastel-y colors, they don't have pigment. Yes. Okay, so I think on this side, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some of these blue tones on this side with this pink. And on this side, I'm going to aim more for the purples, and I'm going to do more of a purple look. So I'll try to like mix them together. So I'm going to go in with Acrobat. Okay, now this is a deep blue. It does seem like it might be one of her creamy mattes. And I'm just going to apply this. So I would definitely say when you're playing with color like this, you might want to do your face last. I didn't on purpose, just because since I'm filming a video that I want to get out. You know, when you're playing with colors this strong, I would definitely say you might want to do your face makeup last. But I want to kind of get an idea. I'm kind of excited. This blue is actually pretty, and it does blend out really nice. I'm not seeing patchiness. It does have a tad bit of fallout, so that's why I would definitely recommend doing your face last. But it looks like it's pretty nice. That's pretty. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to grab a little bit of the dark blue too, and I'm going to put it in the inner portion and kind of work my way out. For being this color blue, I'm actually pretty happy with the way it's blending. It's blending really easily. I like her regular powdery formula, and this feels a little bit more like her creamy mattes. But let me tell you, it's blending awesome for being a blue. You do lose a little bit of the color. If you guys can see, the color turns from being more of like this blue to a lighter blue, but it definitely is blending great. Now I wanted to play with this color called Snow Cone. I'm gonna get it on my finger because I like Natasha. Oh my God. I like Natasha's palettes with my finger, and oh my goodness, this is beautiful. I knew that this color was gonna be a spectacular color, and it really is. Wow, that's nice. Let me deepen out the outer edge with a little bit of the blue. I'm just gonna kind of like dramatize this a little bit more. I'm super excited for my friend Katie Marie here on YouTube. I know she's picking up this palette. I think this is gonna be her first Natasha palette, and I think she's gonna die with the formula. I really hope that she loves it. So definitely blues are so hard to work with because they get everywhere. This one actually was not bad. There was not that much fallout for being such a strong blue. But yeah, blues get everywhere. Grab the pink and we're gonna blend a little bit more. So we're grabbing into the pink again. And that's what I'm gonna use to kind of like blend out the edges. I do want the pink to show up because I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side with probably orange. And in all honesty, guys, this is a pretty wearable look like for nighttime, obviously to go out at night, but it has a really pretty dimension to it, and it's not like too much in your face. Obviously, I probably wouldn't wear this during the day. That's just me personally. I'm gonna leave the inner corner and I'm gonna leave the lower lash line for now because I might need to use some of the colors from this side to kind of like tie them together. We'll figure that out as we keep going. Now we're gonna jump into this side, and I think on this side, what we're gonna do is we're gonna do orangey purples. So another one of the lighter colors in here is this color called Firework. I could use Cotton Candy again, but I do want something to kind of like pop out and be a little different. So let's use Firework on this lid, and we're just gonna kind of do the same thing that we did on this side, just with orange. So let's go into the orange. Just gonna lightly put that on. So this is blending really nice. Again, nice pigment. Definitely Natasha Denona quality. I'm excited. Let me clean some of my favorite brushes so I can use the same brushes, because if not, let's do the purple. So we're gonna jump into Magic, which is the deepest purple in here. We're gonna do the same thing on this side. Ooh, that's a nice purple. Creating the structure. When you create the structure, you can be a little messy, but not too messy. And then when you clean it up, that's when you go in with your other colors. So I'm just gonna kind of like create my structure. What do I want this to look like? When you're playing with colors, it is good to kind of like create the idea and then go in with more color. This purple's working really good. Another really nice purple. What I like is that these are buildable. They're not like super they're not like super strong right when you put them on, which is good when you're working with colors, at least in my opinion. I like for them to be buildable. Okay, we're gonna add a little bit in the inner portion, just like the other eye. Look at that, cool. Okay, now I'm for the color I've been waiting for, Aerialist. This has to be the color of the palette. Like, it has to be. When I did Make Up Your Mind, there was nothing like this. This is beautiful. And it is gorgeous. Oh my God, this is like a color I could see in retro. This is like a gorgeous, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, can you imagine like this shade if it would have had green in it? This shade is everything. Guys, oh my God, Natasha, she has the best formula ever. Okay, and going back over kind of to fix up and add a little bit more purple on top of the metallic, kind of to give myself that cat eye. When you're working with purple and orange, just be a little careful because you can make it look muddy. So you just have to be a little bit more cautious when blending. That color Aerialist, it's absolutely stunning, but because it is so powdery, I did get it a little bit on top of the matte shadow, a little bit more than I would have wanted to. All right, here we go. This is it. I'm gonna kind of play with it a little bit more. We're not done yet. So what I'm gonna do now is to kind of like tie them in. I'm gonna use a little bit of purple on this side. I'm gonna go ahead and grab, let me see, I'm gonna grab the deep purple here, and I'm gonna tight line here with it. That's so cool. Now I'm gonna just blend it with a brush that has nothing on it. I'm gonna grab some of the purpley shiny color that was used on this eye. I'm gonna put on this eye in the center. I'm in love with this eye. More than this eye, I love this eye. Okay, so now on this side, I'm gonna go ahead and grab the blue, and I'm gonna tight line with the blue. Together, I'm gonna grab this color right here. Blend it with a brush with nothing on it. I'm gonna grab the bright shade, this blue right here, and I'm gonna add it in the inner portion. This will also help it get a little bit more vibrant because it's a little dull. And then both sides, I'm gonna finish off with a little bit of the pink on the bottom on both sides. Instead of just doing opposite, I'm just gonna do them both sides just so that they kind of mesh a little bit better together. And I'm not caring how low I go because this is obviously a very dramatic eye. So I'm not like trying to be careful with not going too low with this. All right, and there we go. We've got a purpley, we've got a blue. Now it's gonna be the final things. I'm just gonna clean this off with concealer, put on some eyeliner, put on some mascara, and we'll see the final look with Circo Loco. All right, guys, so here is the final look using Circo Loco palette. I have to say, I did try 2 different looks here, used multiple different colors, and I like the formula. I like the formula in here. I will say I am preferable on this side than I am on this side, but at the same time, that is just the color combinations that I used. I like this combo a little bit better, but yeah, let's get into the rest of the video. So yeah, guys, you guys saw I used a lot of colors in this palette. I obviously did not use every single one. I'm gonna be doing a second video to this one, kind of arranging the palette in ways that I think it like makes a little bit more sense. So if you guys like this video, don't forget to hit subscribe, leave me your comments down below, let me know what you guys think about this palette, and I hope you guys really enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching. I'll talk with you guys later. Bye.